You're listening to the Surgeons of Horror podcast.
Hello, welcome to the Surgeons of Horror podcast. Its purpose is to dissect and discuss horror films, both old and new. We're continuing our big vote of the yearly best horror movies, and we're up to year 2013. And obviously you can tell by the title of the podcast, the winner was World War Z. And I'm... Who said that? Before we get into it, I should introduce myself. My name is Saul Murte, and I'm joined by two of our podcasters this week. Miles Davies. Hello, Miles.
Hello.
And Anthony Yee, the Big Cheese.
Hello, how are you, Miles? I'm good.
Okay, so, 2013, the year 2013, and I did preface my poll that I put out there that this was the year that The Conjuring was released. It was also the year that Insidious 2 was released. And it was also the year that Evil Dead, the remake of the new one, was released as well. And I said, but you can't vote on them because we've already podcasted on them. Because the whole point of these is that we will podcast on the winner, and it's a bit irrelevant on us kind of talking about what we've already talked about. Having said that, by the end of the year, I will tally up all of the ones that have won, and I will include some of those gems that were in the mix as well as part of the big what was your favourite film of the 2010s. And you know, The Conjuring will be in there and stuff, so people will still get a chance to vote on them if they want to. Cool. So with that aside, let me just take a quick look at the movies that were in the running of the rest of the bottom of the barrel of the ones that we had to vote for. It was actually a close run thing with at least one more and a surprising. There was a few. I'll come to that too. Okay. So here's the list of them, and you can comment on them if you want or not. And this I always list it in alphabetical order. So the first one was the Carrie remake, and that one actually got quite a few votes. It was I think it was fourth in the running.
Really?
Which surprised me a bit, but then maybe not so much when you let me read the rest of the list.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so the next one, and this was the runner-up. It was Dark Skies.
Is that the one with the kid with his bicycle going down the street? That's how the promo went. That had Felicity in it, didn't it?
Yeah, it had Felicity in it. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's about she starts banging her head against the wall.
Yeah.
In the promo.
Yeah. That's the one.
Yeah, okay, I've seen it.
Yeah. So that was
before I converted to the that was before that she did the Americans.
Yes.
So I was still not really liking her.
Yeah.
And it's only now that I actually in the whole of the Americans I'm like, she's actually pretty good actress.
Yeah, she's very good.
She's great.
Yeah, I'll give her that.
Yeah. Okay, so the third one was Frankenstein's Army. Bit of a kind of.
Was that shot in Australia?
Oh, I don't know, man. I'm not
Neil
sure.
Marshall one, isn't it?
Frankenstein film shot in Australia at some point around about that time.
Maybe. That had a bit of love, but not a lot. Then we had A Field in England, Ben Wheatley's movie, which I know Miles and I have discussed about.
Is that set in England?
Yeah, it's apparently in a field. Oh dear. Okay. And then we had, and this one was the one that was kind of teasing about potentially catching up to the front two runners, and that was Mama, with the Jessica Chastain film.
I was wondering about that.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't mind that.
See,
I didn't mind it. Paul hated it.
I hated it with a passion. Really hated it.
I've only seen it once.
So we rated the best. It wasn't going to get in. It's fact.
No
to be
way.
honest,
No way.
it's just full of jump scares, and that's pretty much it. So.
Yeah, I guess that's what it is, and I found it a bit irritable in places as well. It just frustrated me in pots and places.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we had there was a film called The Returned, another one that was called Rigor Mortis, which like literally scraping the barrel. Willow Creek, which was the one that was directed by Bobcat.
Was that Zed?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, ironically enough, Zed.
Yeah.
That's World War Z.
That's right.
That's the one that's got that shot where they're in the tent and it goes for like 20 minutes or some shit.
Yes. Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
And then we had Witching and Bitching, which was like this kind of
I love that one.
yeah comedy kind of movie.
That's a fun little Spanish one, though.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. I quite like that one too. And then we have World War Z, rounded it out. So there you go. And before we get to, we always get into the guts of the piece, but it was voted the top film of 2013 by you guys, and so we are going to respond to that by doing our podcast on it. And I always ask this to the podcasters, but do you remember when you first watched it, and what was your gut reaction from watching it? Miles, you go first.
Oh, look, I'd heard so much bad things about it, and I started reading the book, and I was like, I got about a chapter into the book, and then I think it popped up online, to download, so I ended up just downloading it, like, I think it was on the cinema, so I was like, all right, I'll check it out, and if it's any good, then I'll check out a decent copy and probably buy it, and I actually really liked it. It was a pleasant surprise. I expected it to be a complete piece of trash. I mean, usually when you do hear bad stuff about a film, it's usually quite spot on, like especially about production troubles and stuff.
Yeah.
But of course, saying that you heard rumors about Mad Max Fury Road, them having production issues with that, and it turned into a masterpiece. So you really can't judge a book by its judge a film by its production troubles.
Like it. How about you, Hank? Do you remember when you first watched it?
It was my brother, as always. He tends to be the source of my what's coming up next. He told me about this book by the son of Mel Brooks, and that it's really, really awesome. And then he sent me this, and I'm going to read something to you real quick, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
You can cut around it real quick. Here you go. Fade in, black screen, no music. Dry, just sounds. A man clearing his throat. A chair scraping across hard floor. A recorder being switched on and off. He clears his throat again. A woman's voice, Charlene. Will this take long? Jerry, not long. The chair scrapes again. We hear a microphone being tapped repeatedly, and a final cough as we see letters appear on the screen, white against black. World War Z. My brother sent me the script.
Yeah. I thought so. It was like
a year and a half beforehand,
and
it closely follows the book, and is nothing like what they finally went with. Which was really, really interesting to me, and the journey of this production and how it developed became the film that it finally was. It really fascinates me. The book and the actual movie, the movie closely parallels the book. The ending is very different. And the actual script, this is written by Straczynski, what his name is. J. Michael Straczynski, he's done a lot of stuff. Yeah. The ending, he misses it completely. The ending is such a non-starter, it's not funny. And that was actually the first thing I read. I read this film script, and then I read the book, and I got a better appreciation of what he was trying to do. But I thought the idea was really clever and different at the time, which was a documentation of the zombie apocalypse, an official documentation of the zombie apocalypse, if it really happened. And that was, to me, what I think attracted Brad Pitt originally to the idea.
I think that's the whole attraction of the book, and as well, is that it does seem like a factual account of, the end of the world, fire zombies,
Yep.
Yeah, and I think had they waited another 5 or 6 years until Netflix took over, this would have been a killer Netflix series. I think. Because it would have been built for that. This chapter, every episode's a chapter from somebody else's account of this event, as this Jerry Lane character tries to find Patient Zero. But yeah, that was my first introduction to it. So when I saw the trailers and the promos for it, I was like, oh, this looks a bit more generic action than I originally had to believe. The other big thing is that it was like immediately, this is well and truly the time when people were really getting over CGI.
Yeah.
And noticing CGI, because the zombies are fast zombies, but they're hella fast zombies, and they're really CGI, and I think that turned some people off at the time, I don't know, but yeah, that was my first introduction to the whole thing.
Yeah, it's interesting too, because I seem to remember that having a conversation with you and about that with your brother sending you a script, and you said, there's this pretty cool kind of script that's come through, and I was starting to look into it then because it piqued my interest. And everything you've just mentioned about it and everything that they chose to do with this film is why I don't like this film. Because to me, I really wanted it to go that way, and I thought that's a really interesting premise, and I felt let down by the fact that I was just given this action flick, essentially, and I was just like, and like some of it I get the choices too, because having rewatched it ahead for the podcast, you kind of need, especially in modern storytelling, you kind of need a central person to pull the narrative through, and I don't know, and that's with Brad Pitt's character, and the idea is that he's the needle being thread through to kind of have pockets of these moments that are happening around the world, and we see it from his eyes, and that's the way they've kind of gone with it, rather than just taking you to Israel or taking you to Korea and having these kind of insights into what's happening with the outbreak. But yeah, so it kind of turned me off a bit, really, and I kind of came in, and that was my response to it when I came out of it. I was like, that, and I felt like the end just kind of fizzled out and didn't really provide much. So that was my reaction when I first watched it. So
what's your reaction now? You had to rewatch it.
Like, I guess I kind of I'm semi-reserved about. I may edit this out, but I ended up not minding it as much this time round when I watched it. Maybe because I kind of knew what kind of movie I was watching, and so I was okay to kind of sit in with that and just go, yeah, well, let's treat it for what it is. And you know what? I really like the beginning, and I've forgotten how much I really loved the beginning of the movie, and how it just throws you straight into it. You know,
the beginning was one of the first to do when the outbreak happens. It starts off as and I think the beginning of the Fear the Walking Dead had the same thing about somebody stuck in a traffic jam.
Yeah,
and if you're stuck in a traffic jam and something is happening up ahead, it's actually quite an everyday thing that can actually set up a lot of tension, because the first thing you ask is what's going on, and when everybody starts getting out of their car asking the same thing, and you see an explosion and you hear screaming coming and people running towards you, that's a very grounded everyday thing that makes you go, what the fuck is happening, right?
Yeah.
Very urban thing. So,
I mean, I was instantly thinking about the Twin Towers when I was watching that. And having that same thing, because it's set in an American city. There's an explosion up ahead, panic. People then kind of running all over the place, and I was instantly kind of all the news footage that you saw then, and that was what I kind of instantly connected with, and I think that was even more so when I rewatched it this time round. I think that one sat with me a lot deeper on my viewing of it, because I was just like, that it felt grounded in reality this time round. Which was the whole angle of the original story, which was to give it for one of a dry factual reports, but each of these reports have a very human story to them. Yes.
And it's really, it's a unique point of view, and as you say, that's what we're all kind of hoping that's what they're going to go with. I also see their problem as well. I think I've read the ending of the book and I've read the ending of this original draft of the script, and it's really dry, because there's no traditional third act structure where it all crescendos into a big climax, which is what they've done with the final movie.
But I mean, I was reading with that too, and there's even pockets, like there were so many rewrites with that last act, because they couldn't quite get it right, and they got somebody else in, he couldn't finish it, and somebody else in, and I feel like that, to me personally, is evident on screen. It feels like they didn't really know how to wrap it up, and it was just like, let's just chuck him at Nova Scotia and he meets up with his family again. I mean, you guys could probably offer your own opinion on that, but we'll get to that, because what I want to do is kind of look at each of these chunks, as it were. So the first bit is obviously the outbreak of when it's happening. We kind of talked about that, but I think more importantly, we should probably mention the biggest outrage that Miles even highlighted is one of Hollywood's biggest lies on the screen. When we first meet the family, what are they doing?
Having breakfast together.
Having breakfast together.
Having breakfast?
Having breakfast.
Having breakfast before they go to work/school. It's like, who actually does that? I don't know anybody who does that. I've seen so many movies, and I'm starting. That was it. That was the final straw for me. I was like sitting there just going, "What the fuck is this all about?" I've never seen. Nobody I know ever does this.
Have breakfast and choose to sleep in 15 minutes.
And I'm like, what time do you start?
yeah, exactly. What time do these guys get
like 11 o'clock or something?
I know. Huh?
But, I mean, was it the impression I got was the whole thing is he's now a stay-at-home dad, so he can get up now and make breakfast. Although technically they all wake up at the same time, so it's a good point, Miles.
Yeah.
Because I did the classic thing of like they're sleeping in bed and the happy daughters jump in bed, and it's all like a television commercial, like for a breakfast cereal. And you're like, that's a bit shit. That's not real.
Most of the families I know, you put them in different corners of the house if they're actually in the same house together.
Yeah.
They don't talk to anybody. Nobody's having a friendly chat. Everybody's trying to avoid each other.
Yeah. And is it a work day? Because I got the impression it was like
it's a work day.
It's weird.
Because the kids are off to school, weren't they?
Yeah, they're taking them to school.
Oh, there you go. But he's in this traffic jam, right? And of course, it's occurred to everybody, but it must have occurred to you, and it occurred to me when I first saw it. Where did this fucking truck come from? Because the entire lane to the left of him was filled up full of cars.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was picking them all out. It was just like ploughing through them all.
If it did that, it would have been making a hell of a mess.
Yeah.
Shrapnel and cars going everywhere.
They were going everywhere a fair bit.
They were going everywhere, yeah. Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, no, I didn't buy that. That to me felt like the way, it would have been absolute metal carnage.
So look, we're in Philadelphia, and as we said, we meet Brad Pitt, who plays Jerry Lane. He's with his wife Karen, and their two daughters. We learned that one of them has asthma. Thank you. But is it implied that there's a learning disability with the other girl too, or did I just miss that?
Just they're highly strong kids.
Yeah, I just kind of got this vibe there when I was watching. I was like, have they both got something happening? Anyway, and yes, we learned that Jerry used to be a former UN employee. Actually, doesn't it open with lots of shots, like news bulletin shots and stuff before we get to the action as well?
Yeah, it's stuff done in Survivors, and it's done other things too. Like it was done in the fucking Dawn of the Dead remake.
Yeah,
setting up everything credits, and the world is going to shit.
Yeah, that's right.
There's the really cool mute track. I think it's called The Third Law. And it's that plays underneath it because Matt Bellamy from Muse did all the whole soundtrack for the film, and that really sets it up. So it's really cool.
Yeah, I'm a
big Muse.
Yeah, cool. All right, so they're in a traffic jam, and then explosions up ahead, and some stuff's going on. And do you know what I liked about this? Yes, there's hints of anarchy that's starting to rain down around them, but it's kind of peppered in a nice way. That it's not. They're kind of not really sure exactly what's going on, and it adds to that whole kind of confusion. Before then, they realise that they kind of got to kind of get out of there, and that's when they go. How do they get out the car? I forget now. They've got to get out the car for some reason, and then they.
Well, he's got this experience. You find out he's a troubleshooter used to working in traffic plots, and when this truck plows through all the cars to the left of him. Bullshit. There's no cars there at all.
Oh, that's right.
Cars, but he's instinctive.
He doesn't have much space.
His training kicks in. He says, "Follow the car," because he knows that truck's making a hole.
Yeah.
So anything behind the truck is going to be safe.
Right.
So he's instinctively. You can tell he has some sort of training. He kicks in. He drives. Teenage daughter has a fucking panic attack.
Yeah, and she climbs down behind the car seat. That's right.
And of course, he's distracted. That's when he gets T-boned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. And then they have to kind of climb out the car, and then that's when he witnesses one of the zombies going in and chowing down on the dude.
That's when you see the zombies throw themselves at the people. And there's this really cool drone shot. I guess it's not a drone shot because back then drones didn't exist. But it's a tracking shot of these people running from these other people, and these people literally throwing themselves like quarterbacks.
That was really cool.
Yeah.
Which was a good shot. It was a cool shot. You're like, oh, okay. And then they're running. there's this big combi van that crashes, and then for some reason that guy gets out of that combi van, which is very convenient. Brad Pitt, tells them to make a beeline for it, and then we see this family get attacked by a flying zombie who throws a head right through the front windscreen.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
This guy. And this is done kind of well, because this little girl has a doll that drops and counts to 12.
Yes.
And that's what happens. She drops and counts to 12. That becomes the soundtrack as we see this guy who's been bitten transform in 12 seconds.
Yeah.
Into a zombie. And
it's a good exposition thing of going, it takes 12 seconds for them to turn.
Yeah, that's right.
And it is done very well. But Brad Pitt had the wherewithal to actually see this guy from across a chaotic street and count to 12 as he noticed this guy turn in 12 seconds. But yeah, it's not bad. That was cool. And they get into this combi van and they take off.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's actually it's a great scene because there's so much crammed into that one scene that you just without there's no words other than the counting of 1 to 12 basically.
Yeah.
But you're explaining a lot.
To me, that strikes me as is this going to work on paper? You shoot it. Is this going to work when you shoot it? And then you see it in the edit. You're like, yeah, it works. Yeah, so it takes, to me, that's a very confident filmmaker who knows what he's doing, basically. So, trust me.
I do actually want to mention the director, so that's, Mark Forster, and this does follow his Quantum of Solace movie that he directed, the Bond one, which wasn't that well received, but the actual opening of that film was really action-packed and was really pretty cool.
Great!
I heard a rumor though that he didn't know how to do that, so he gave most of that over to the second unit director.
Are you kidding?
Because he actually said, "I'm not an action director," and they said to him, "Don't worry about that. We have people who can do that."
Yeah.
But I did remember thinking, the opening bit. That's the bit where he shoots the guy hanging upside down.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
I was thinking, shit, that is really well put together. The car chase is put together.
Yeah.
This promises to be a killer film, and then the rest of the film is shit.
Yes, it was.
Terrible. That's awful.
Fucking awful. Considering how much Casino Royale promised.
Oh, yeah.
Promised so much.
Yeah.
How are you going to live up to that? That's the thing. It's just, it was so good. Casino Royale was so good. You needed to have some buffer before they got to Spectre and all of them.
Yeah.
I think great film. And then, fucking Quantum of Solace. By the end, is just going to all the cliches, all the fucking traps. I don't give a shit. But this film, what was it? I thought it was.
Well, I guess that was my point. So I'm slightly kind of a bit. It kind of loses my point a little bit with you saying that he got the second unit in to direct Bond, because I was instantly thinking, he's obviously good at doing action films because you're instantly thrust into the action and it's full on stuff that's happening on screen. So I actually really enjoyed that bit. So look, we eventually they managed to get out this city in the combi van, as you said, and that's when the daughter starts having her asthma attack.
Yeah, and he gets a phone call from his boss, and you get more of an idea of what he used to do.
That's right.
And that his boss is like doing I need you to come back. That sort of so you're thinking, okay, he's some sort of kick-ass spy or some shit. I don't know. But the boss says, I'll try and get you picked up. You've got to find shelter. They end up going to a supermarket, which is just being raided by anybody with a gun.
Yeah.
Which is, again, chaotic. It feels very Katrina. It feels very real.
Yes.
Which, again, is the point that you brought up, Paul, with the 9/11 analogy. I guess I didn't realise why it did feel real. But, it's really good because, he's trying to find asthma for his daughter. He comes across a druggie who pulls a gun on them, and this druggie ends up giving them really good asthma medicine.
I like that scene. The reason I like that scene is because it goes against stereotype in that one moment, because you expect him to be one way and he's not.
Well, that's it. I think the whole situation of everybody acts completely different to their own personas.
Yeah.
I mean, later on, the cop just runs past him.
That's right.
Well, he's got a gun. Give a shit. But the druggie's the one that helps him.
That's it.
Yeah, exactly. It's
the ordinary people that turn to rape, basically.
Yeah, That's right.
Yeah. So you don't know, and that's I did like that because you really don't know, and then it adds to the chaos. Can I trust you? Which is the big thing about these sort of movies is trust is broken down. And that's not the zombies you have to worry about, but the other people.
Yeah,
which The Walking Dead's all about. But yeah, that happens. There's some guys attack the mum because I want her food or something.
Yeah.
And yeah, Brad Pitt kills one of them. Cop walks in, he doesn't give a shit. And then they go outside, and the commie van's been nicked. Maybe you should have locked it. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then he calls the boss up and tells him he's going to be on a rooftop with flares.
Yeah.
And they go into the building.
They go into the building, yeah, and then we get that whole kind of chase scene where they're trying to get up into the, up the stairwell.
So that reminded me of 28 Days Later.
Sorry?
A fair bit. So that reminded me of 28 Days Later.
Yeah, same.
Into the building and going to the
Yes.
Yes.
Hold on, so 28 Days came out 2002 or so, didn't it? So
yeah.
That's what made.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right. So yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, there was echoes of that in that one, but on this one. But they do get semi way up, but then they realise they've lost the younger one, the daughter.
She's yelling at the door.
She's yelling at the door, let us in, yeah. And they come back, find her, and then the door opens, and it's this kind of Latino family, and they get in there, and then we get so this is the first real moment of take a breath, let's kind of collect ourselves moment because of the carnage that's begun, and a bit of human spirit between them, because they get a chance to sleep, and they say sunrise, as you said, and we'll send the flares up, and they're going to get rescued by these choppers.
Well, the interesting thing I found about this point was, one, he's giving advice to the father, saying, I've been in situations like this before. The key is you've got to keep moving.
Yeah.
He said, stillness is death, movement is life. Which I found interesting. So I'm thinking, okay, he's obviously coming from a background where he's been trained in this, and obviously I assumed the writer, all the way to Max Brooks, may have asked somebody about this. I don't know if that's true. But there was an interesting thing. Have you guys seen Hotel Mumbai?
No, I haven't watched it yet.
No, I don't think so. Yeah. I'm confusing it
fucking intense, and it obviously recreates the moment the hotel gets stormed by these guys.
Yep.
And the really horrible thing about it is that when they storm this place, people hide, and they hear gunshots down the corridor. They hear people dying, and the decision they have to make is, do we run or do we stay? And it's really horrific, because for some, there's no right answer. Running can be life or death.
Yeah. Staying
can be life and death.
Yeah.
And I mean, when I saw the scene, because this is based on what really happened to these people.
Yeah.
I thought of what Brad Pitt said, which was keep moving his life. And then I saw that situation, I was like, no, it's not. You don't know. You really don't fucking know.
Yeah.
You really don't know. And the father's decision in this movie, of the Latino father, is that he chooses to stay. And at the time, if there's such a thing were real, who knows if moving is death or whatever. So I found that really interesting. Yeah. The other interesting thing is that the first thing...
But later on, sorry to interrupt, but later on, when they're walking through the Welsh town, you see a lot of people who have actually chosen to stay.
Yeah, you do.
So they've actually died. So it could work either way.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. Yeah. It's interesting, because there's a bit in Hotel Mumbai where this guy tells his girlfriend to run, and she does, and she gets caught, and she gets shot. And it's really fucked. It's really fucked, because this guy's got to find a way to fucking live with that. Because you see the look on his face, you realise he's just told his girlfriend to die. So anyway, the other interesting thing, back to the Brad Pitt movie, is that he puts magazines around his forearm, and he rolls it up with tape, which is really, really interesting. And that to me, because he's noticed that people bite, so that to me feels like a real zombie survivalist guy thing to do, is get an FHM magazine and just wrap it around your forearm. But I thought that was interesting. And he puts a knife, kitchen knife, on the end of his, because the combi van had a rifle, and then he puts a kitchen knife on the end of the rifle. So
I think he has to get a bit of distance, so he doesn't have to carry the knife, and he can get a bit of distance between the patient, like the zombie, and the himself when he's trying to kill them. So
good old bayonet stuff.
That's right. Yeah. That's right, man. Yeah. So, so they choose to after that scene, they kind of, as you said, he's telling the father of the other family that he needs to come with us, but they choose to stay. And so, as soon as sun is rising, they decide to make their run for it, and that's when things go crazy again. Because up to this point, they don't know that the zombies are attracted to noise. Is that right? I think. So I
think they're just taking
They just want to get out of there, don't they? Yeah.
No, they don't know.
Yeah. So they're making their way up the stairwell. There's kind of a bit of a scuffle, lots of scuffles to get to the top. Brad Pitt is kind of trying to fend the zombies off when they've just reached the top, and he's struggling with this one zombie, and then all of a sudden there's a gunshot, and it's the kid from the other family. And you get from that staying wasn't a good option in this instance, and he's somehow managed to get out, and they're out on the rooftop as the chopper arrives, and just as they're trying to get to the chopper, we see the dad, who's now zombified, chasing after them, and they manage to get onto the chopper and get away, just as the other zombies are trying to throw themselves.
Brad Pitt gets some of their shit in his mouth.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
I forgot that bit.
And he does that thing.
Thank you.
Yeah, he leans on the edge of the thing, counts to 12, and if he's going to start turning, he was going to throw himself off.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Makes you want to have to though.
Yeah, so that was really cool, but how then is it transferred?
It's got to be saliva. I don't know.
It's saliva.
It's weird.
So it's like, because they mentioned something about rabies, didn't they, at the beginning?
Obviously, it's a transfer of like bodily fluids.
Yeah.
He's got some on his skin, but he doesn't get it anywhere else. He doesn't get it in his mouth. He didn't get it in his mouth.
I thought he did. Didn't he say, I got something in my mouth?
Got it in my mouth, yeah. I thought he did,
When he was... And
so,
that's
directly into...
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's weird.
Yeah.
The rules are weird.
The rules are weird.
The other thing, too, about that rescue scene, Matthew Fox.
Yeah,
yes.
Matthew Fox.
Yes. Everybody knows it's Matthew Fox. And he doesn't do anything else in the fucking movie. And there's a reason for that. Which we'll get to later.
We'll come to that later, will we? Because there's another bit around that, too, because there's a few characters like that pop up that are known actors who don't do anything else later on. Anyway, we'll come to that. Yeah.
And the other thing is, they run to the helicopter. The helicopter takes off, and these zombies throw themselves at the helicopter.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Including a cat. You see this cat just fly up.
Zombie cat?
Really cool. Like a zombie cat.
That is awesome. Really cool.
I missed the cat.
It may have... No, it's based on this poster, a meme poster somebody did. You know the poster is the helicopter? With the zombies throwing themselves at the helicopter?
Yeah.
Somebody inserted a cat. And a lot of people believed it was a real poster. Love it. Really cool. I think, and if I was the movie, I would have done a reshoot. I would have paid a day to do a reshoot. To have a cat.
There's a
fucking awesome.
I think they did enough of their own reshoots, let alone trying to do one with a cat.
Exactly.
All right, so then they end up on the naval ship, don't they? They're trying to. So the officials that are there, including Jerry's mate, who was the UN Deputy Secretary Thierry, and they're trying to encourage Jerry to kind of come back, basically, and help them out, because they suspect that it may have started in Korea. They've gotten kind of word that that there's an incident in South Korea.
Yes, out of retirement. He says he doesn't want to leave his family, and he sort of left that life behind. And they kind of say, it's quid pro quo, bro. If you don't have any use, you're fucking off the ship.
Yeah, I like that.
And then, that was and it makes sense. And then he realizes the ship is the safest place, so he goes, They give him a satellite phone. They give his wife a satellite phone.
So also they've got the Latino kid as well.
The Latino kid is. Hey, the Latino kid shot somebody with a pistol.
Yeah.
A zombie with a pistol. B seems to be completely over the fact that his parents are dead. And he's quite happy to latch himself to this family. Hey, white people, I'm cool.
he's on to a winner, so...
That's right.
Yeah, I'm sticking with you guys. They have a ship. I'm with you guys.
They got the army.
Yeah.
So, that's right, and they have some sort of guy who's the lead character in that TV show about geniuses, whatever his name is, I forget his name, he's British. But he seems to be the one guy that seems to be figuring out what it is. And that he's the one
that's right. There was a few, that's the thing, that guy, the young kind of smart scientist dude.
Oh, yeah. What was it? Scorpion.
Think Tank or something. He's in some series about geniuses.
Yeah, you're right, I think it was Scorpion.
Scorpion.
Yeah.
Scorpion, And the other interesting thing, he says, "Oh, it's in South Korea." In the book, it was China.
Ah.
Yeah.
In Hollywood, you don't say that. Because these days, that's where you get your money back. If you do well in China, all your money gets recouped before you release in the West.
Yeah.
So we're not saying anything bad about the Chinese. Make it Korea. So, yeah.
It's fair enough, man.
Yeah,
fair enough. Yeah. What was I going to say? Okay, so basically they basically blackmail Jerry to kind of say you got to do this, otherwise you and your family are off the ship. So I guess that's kind of like that rounds out the first chapter, if you will, the first act. How are we feeling about the movie this far in? Are we kind of feel like it's impactful enough?
Oh yeah, I'm totally buying it. I feel like, oh, okay, yeah, it's all cool. And this is the
I'm on the ride.
You're on it, yeah.
The crux of it. I'm curious to see what's in Korea. They're in a plane.
Yeah.
There's a nice conversation with this guy who said they'd be nervous, and he's like, "These guys will get you whatever you want." And this guy does the big MacGuffin plot point by saying Mother Nature is a killer, and its greatest weakness can be it's the one thing. Its greatest, most vicious thing can be the thing that be its biggest weakness.
Yes.
Dum 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 dum. And because he outlived this as a plot device, he soon dies. So he should have kept his mouth shut.
It's like, wait, He goes, I know how to defeat it, but I'm not going to tell you because I don't want to get killed.
I have an idea. Keep it to myself.
What was I saying? Because and I guess that's the thing, because so Jerry and the pacemakers, I was going to say, Jerry and his Jerry and his gang of soldiers head out then to South Korea.
Yes.
Joined by the scientist dude. And you're right, they get attacked by zombies straight away, and the young scientist dude falls over and shoots himself.
Stupid.
That was hilarious.
They give him a Glock. A Glock has no hammer, has no safety feature.
Yeah.
It's a very dangerous gun for a beginner to have, is what I'm saying.
And he just runs up, flips over, and just blows the top of his head off. That's just like, oh, I've got Marvin.
So he has obviously served his purpose. He served his purpose. But what I find interesting about that is, like, earlier on the ship is, Jerry makes a point of saying he's just a kid, and yet the guy is saying he's the best chance we've got of cracking this thing, and by killing him straight off the bat, you just gotta go, yeah, so they're fucked, yeah.
Pretty much it.
Yeah.
It's like God is like, I'm sick of your shit. I'm releasing a zombie plague. We got one guy who can fix it. Well, he's dead too. So.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna kill him. What are you gonna do about that?
Yeah. So
yeah, it was good. So the next section's in Korean, but thankfully for Jerry and the guys, they get kind of helped by the surviving kind of soldiers that are still there. And they kind of find themselves down in like another bunker, essentially. And we kind of learn some history there, don't we? A bit of background about what's happened and what happened to this. How the infection kind of spread from where they were, because it was from a doctor that kind of survived after being bitten by somebody in the village.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's sort of faithful to the book from memory.
Is it, yeah?
There was a kid in the village.
Yeah.
It was in China. The kid was in China and he bit this doctor.
I'm going to have to edit that out and put Korea, you know that.
Okay. Yeah.
If this podcast is going to sell, I'm going to have to say Korea.
Look, dude, I'm not slagging off North Korea. If I was slagging off North Korea, we'd all be dead.
Yeah. So we kind of get a bit of like a little insight of what's happening there. But interestingly, there's I've forgotten the guy's name now. The actor that's in this, who's the first indication of the
David Morse.
No, not him. Sorry, not him quite yet. The soldier dude that has a gammy leg.
He always plays soldier dude.
Huh?
He always plays soldier dudes.
Is it James Badgell?
I thought he had a Dutch. No, Michael Huisman plays Ellis, the Army Ranger dude. So, like, the reason I mention that is because they talk about him basically walking into the infected, and that they just didn't touch him.
Oh yes, he's the dude from Game of Thrones, yeah.
Yeah, he's in Game of Thrones, and he was in Treme, and he was cropped up in Orphan Black at one point. He's one of those faces that you kind of go, oh yeah, that guy.
Yeah, back then nobody.
Back then,
oh yeah,
nobody. He was in the Haunting of Hill House more recently, just to give you a bit more of a frame of reference.
He's the older one. He's the oldest one.
Yeah.
Ukraine,
yeah.
All American actors play cops, soldiers, waiters at some point. So they all training in that shit.
He's in The Invitation.
Whatever happens when they merge all three parts, that's going to really confuse.
I know. A waiter with a gun. A waiter with an attitude.
A waiter with an attitude. A
waiter that doesn't play by the rules.
No, he's a waiter, but he doesn't play by the rules.
That's a skit idea. One of you guys write that down. And also James Badge Dale plays the captain of the group, and he's always the perennial special forces guy in all the different shows.
I thought that's who you were talking about.
Yeah, that's what I thought you were talking about too. Yeah.
So he's the main dude, right?
Yeah, he's the one that gets. He calls them all Zeke. Get Zeke on the ground.
So
I can't believe I'm Zeke. Goddamn Zeke. Yeah,
here's the thing, right? I really hated his performance. This to me was the turning point for the film for me. It was all downhill from the Zeke guy.
All got bullied a lot in school. Imagine what kind of guy bullied him an awful lot of kids.
I just found him really wooden. Like his performance was really wooden, and I was just like, "Is this meant to be a commentary on the fact that he's already?"
Is that what you said when the bully kicked the shit out of him?
Yeah, that's right.
I'm finding the performance really wooden, buddy.
He's just like. I was wondering whether this was just a way of saying he's already dead. You know, he's a dead man walking. He's resigned to his fate, and he's just kind of out in the wind. But I don't know. I just thought it was pretty crap. And even that line you just said about, you know, where he does die, he just goes, "It's okay, boys. I got this one covered." And you hear the gunshot. I was like, "Yeah, fuck off, die."
And that to me is the whole.
It was a bit standard soldier guy.
Yeah, it falls into the generic zombie action film.
Yeah.
And that's where I was just like, so I kind of I was starting to tune out at this point. But going back to David Morse, you mentioned him, right? So, like, we get the insight into this guy who used to be in the CIA, is that right? Yeah. Who was imprisoned in North Korea, and he kind of learned a few things. And while he's telling his tale, he pulls out his teeth.
Yeah. Well, his teeth has been pulled out.
Yeah, but he pulls out his own teeth. But his answer was though, but because they pull out the teeth and they can't bite you.
Which is true.
Yeah.
They said that's what they did in North Korea. They don't have a problem because within like 24 hours they pulled out like 6 million people's teeth or something.
Yeah.
Just
holy shit.
Yeah.
I mean, every form of leadership, capitalism, communism, dictatorship, they all have their pros and cons. A big pro for dictatorships. Get 6 million people to pull their teeth out. They fucking get their teeth pulled out.
And they won't die of zombieism.
That's it.
Problem solved. Say what you like, but they get that shit done.
So, other than that mad rant, what was the purpose of David Morse's character in this?
That to me, that was just like a cool idea. Let's just insert it because he leaves the breadcrumb of like go to Israel because Israel's the only other place that they're doing it well.
Oh yeah, so he's the one that said they built a wall. That's right. Yeah. Okay.
Trump supporters going, see, it fucking works.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just found that was a bit of a wasted point, really. Other than to, as you said, plot device to get them out of Korea and then to somewhere else. Yeah, I was a bit. This, you can see why I kind of was immediately, or hopefully you can understand why I was starting to get a little bit pissed off with the movie, because I'm like, yeah, so are we going to just kind of bunny hop around the world essentially? Is what you're going to do?
Yeah, essentially, that's what it seems. But you go from set piece to full set piece.
But that's the thing. It becomes formulaic with that, surely. Like, because they're just going to go, right, we're just going to insert you in this situation now. Oh, we're done with that one because it's getting a bit tired and bored. We'll get you out of there. Throw in some kind of panic-ridden thing. Get you out. Put you in another place. I don't know. To me, I just was kind of like, okay.
Very video game, I guess.
Yeah.
It's like gamifying of movies. They all seem to be sort of that you go to the next level, and the next level, and the next level, and then you go on, you get to the next level.
And look,
achievement unlocked.
And look, obviously, I'm the one that's coming in saying that I wasn't a great lover of the movie, and yet it was very like the best one from the guys out there. So, and we've said this before, like, you know, it's obviously had it's landed with some people out there, and yourselves included, really like these movies. So this movie, I should say. But yeah, so anyway, so they kind of end up on the landing strip and they have this great. I actually quite like the bit where they were on bicycles because it doesn't make a noise.
Yeah.
I kind of thought that was kind of cool.
White calls.
What was that?
And of course the white calls at the most.
Yeah, the white calls there.
Yeah.
We've all been there.
Yeah, that's right. I think it would have been really funny.
It's a satellite phone. He could have sent it a voicemail.
Yeah, hey, yeah. I think it would have been really cool if he was just riding along and he just has this kind of real trigger, like this. What am I trying to say? He has this kind of impulse to just ring the bell on his bike because he's just like, I can't do it, can't make a noise, gonna ring, but it's there, it's gonna make the ting, and then ting. And then the zombie comes.
You ride a bike and has a bell, you ring the bell.
That's right, God damn it.
Have you all seen that South Park episode where Cartman's in prison and he shits out all these prison escapes?
Yeah.
You just hear him on camera going, and plonk, and then you hear this flush, and the guy goes, "What the fuck did you flush for?" He said, "You shit, you flush, that's what happens." You're on a bike, you ring a bell. There's a bell, I'm sorry.
Nice. Anyway, look, I guess the point is they get on the plane, and it's the whole kind of sacrificing themselves in order for Brad Pitt to continue his mission kind of happens.
It's the star of the film.
But I kind of, I like the bit where they realise that the fuel cap's still in, and the dude goes, Israel better be worth it, and he just goes out to unhook the fuel pump. And I did like the fact that he goes as they take off. He's like, and Brad Pitt can fly as well.
Yeah,
so he co-pilots the plane to get away.
A single pop plane.
He can do anything. He can do anything.
That's right. I don't doubt Brad Pitt can do anything.
Here's something really interesting. You know how that thing of if you're on a jumbo jet and the pilot gets incapacitated and somebody says, "Is there a pilot on the plane?"
Yeah.
Right? Chances are there's going to be a pilot on your plane, like it's 747 or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you know what the chances of him actually, if it's say it's a single prop pilot, someone with a lot of experience,
the
chances of him landing a jumbo jet is next to zero. And they've tried it because it's a completely different type of flying. 4 engines is very different to one, and they've tried it with single prop pilots.
Yeah.
A dozen of them, all different experience. Some with a lot of experience. Every one of them crashed the plane. They couldn't do it. Even being talked down.
I kind of want to contradict you there because I believe Stryker managed to do it, and he did it successfully.
That is true. Stryker.
Anyway, so I guess there's always one chance that somebody can do it. There's hope.
Right,
okay, so I do like, but I have to admit I did like the bit where they goes better make it steep and all the zombies fall out. I thought that was kind of cool. And so then they get to Jerusalem, and they kind of get introduced to this kind of another guru and they've kind of found a way. This whole dialogue bit actually was kind of good. The whole thing about him saying the 10th man. They made a rule that there'd always be a 10th man.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
I like
cool.
that too. I like that too.
It gave it a bit more integrity to, like, nobody would believe in zombies, etc. But they had this rule that, if 9 people say it's bullshit, the 10th person has to then prove, delve into the what if it is true.
Yeah.
And so they kind of went with that and say he was the one that was around and kind of delved into it and found out that it is fucking true, that there are zombies walking the earth. But they built this big wall.
Been going for thousands of years. Maybe we should just finish building that wall.
Yeah.
And not one of them thought to build ramparts or a tower so you could look over the wall. No one even thought to do that. And that fucks them in the end.
Why do that, Ant? I don't understand.
I don't understand either. Even just like a peak hole. They go, they're climbing, guys. They're kind of climbing the wall.
And here's where that's where it loses me again. Because I'm like, it's not that easy to make
a meeting. You would have been good in the meeting when they screened the rough cut, and then Paul goes, "I've got a couple notes." Can we just...
I'm just like, they're building a zombie wall to get to the top. Do you know how fucking difficult that would be? How high that wall is? These zombies aren't that smart. And like when they land, so they fall off the other side, and when they land, surely that would fucking kill them anyway.
They shouldn't be able to walk.
No, well, like exactly. I'm like, what the fuck? You'll be all right. Chase me. You're on the floor trying to crawl towards me. Shoot you dead. I just found that bit way too far fetched. But anyway, for the sake of the movie, it happens. And just at the point where the guru guy he basically it's the noise that attracts them again, isn't it? Because you get this whole chanting thing going on, and they're in prayer and celebrations.
They're bringing in Palestinians as well as Israeli people, which is because the theory being a live Palestinian here is not a dead Palestinian up there.
That's right.
Or zombie Palestinian up there, which is all great. And then this Palestinian girl singing a song with this Israeli girl. So the moral lesson here is don't have unification. Don't have any.
Because zombies will come and get you.
Don't have peace. It'll kill you.
Pretty much.
Yeah. And these zombies. But the interesting thing about that shot, I've seen this behind the scenes scene of that shot, is that wall was on an angle. And when they had the extras throw themselves at the wall, they're literally climbing up it because it's at a 50 degree.
Yeah.
So that's why they look like they can climb up like 3 feet without trying.
Okay.
Which I thought was cool. Yeah, I thought it was kind of cool. But yes, my eyes sat there going, did nobody have a tower to look over the side going, it seemed to be climbing up. There's a little dumb. So they get breached, don't they? And they're fucked and they're running.
And then this is actually still. I say that, but this actually is a cool sequence again with the action sequences. I liked it. I thought it was good, especially the bit where they're running through the streets with the cages on the top above them, and I kind of feel like that whole pending kind of feeling, and
and those cages are clearly stop stuff landing on people, and it stops zombies landing.
Yeah.
But I like the bit, even though it is very CGI, they sprint around the corner, and the tsunami of zombies come flying around as well. And they literally come over his bodies. That was kind of cool, because you'd probably go, oh, fuck, if you saw that.
Yeah, so they basically sang Brad Pitt with Segan, the Segan character.
Yes.
She's
supposed to look after him.
Yeah, to get into the plane again.
Yeah, and they get cornered.
Yep.
Actually, getting him back to his plane, to waste manpower to get him back to his plane, I thought was very polite, to be honest. I think that's quite nice. They didn't have to do that. And then, she gets bit, and then he does the thing. She gets bit on the hand, and so he goes, well, no hand, no problem. So he cuts off the hand.
Yeah. Very
PG the way they shot it, because obviously I think it was meant to be a lot more gory, but then they changed to the PG rating, so you don't see shit. And then, they just tie up the hand.
I think I watched the unrated edition. I think there's another edition as well.
Oh, great. Oh, is that cool?
Yeah, there's like an unrated edition. I think I have that, so that's what I watched. Good. Blood was flying everywhere.
Oh, good. Oh, there you go. I need to see that, yeah. Because it was one of those things where you're like, she seems to be taking it well. I mean, yes, she is yelling, as you would, but he just hacked off her hand really hard. So,
I don't know. When you say you don't see shit, I definitely saw a stump as well. So maybe I saw the unrated version, because I saw a pretty gruesome kind of stumpy hand.
Right.
Yeah.
You didn't see your version.
So
PG version, there's no blood.
Yeah, but that was kind of, and the bit where later on in the plane,
stack of 7 minutes of extra footage.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So the bit in the plane, later on the plane, where she actually says to him, "How did you know that would work?" He says, "I didn't." Was kind of cool too. But that also was a bit of a, another bit of a turning point where he suddenly becomes a bit of an expert in the medical field. And I'm like, look, that guy can do no wrong.
It's Brad Pitt.
He's Brad Pitt. So all hell breaks loose at that point. They miss their plane flight, so the dude kind of has to check out.
I like how, because they were supposed to be on a chopper, and then this chopper crashes.
That's right, the chopper. Yes.
There's zombies all over it. And this guy hears it, saying, "Oh, the Jerry Lane character's dead." And he's like, "Well, that's me then. I'm fucking off." He fucks off. He just fucks off. And I'm like, doesn't offer to take people. No, I'm out of here. So like,
cut back.
He's on his own.
Cut back to Brad Pitt. Yeah. Goes, "My mate fucked off ages ago, hey." Voice of an angel.
I think he's gone, bro.
He's gone, bro. He's gone. So then, so they kind of get on a passenger plane, essentially.
They point guns at a passenger plane. The passenger plane stops.
Yeah.
They put down a ladder from the front nose cone. Does that really exist?
That's what I wondered too. I don't think it does.
It looks really CG, and I'm like, I don't think that's a thing.
There's like a builder's ladder that comes down.
Yeah, that's right.
They let them on.
That's right, because
I would have just said, "Get the accelerator and just run over them."
yeah. Fuck that shit. So we know where you're playing.
It's automatically assumed that Lefty, that's what I'm calling it now, is just going with Brad Pitt now, because he cuts a hand off. That means he owns it, right? So.
Yes. He must be.
Right.
Why is he crazy with him? He's not. He's not. Yeah. So anyway, she just happens to be on the plane with her actual army buddies. Go, yeah, off you go. It's all good.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll do your job for you, but it's fine.
I just looked it up about the ladder. It's true. There is a ladder.
Oh, there is.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So it goes into the cockpit.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Ah, there you go.
Blimey.
So
it's a special ladder.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. All right.
But I do find who pulls it up? I've seen Brad pulled it up. Must have pulled it up. Yeah. All right. But they go in. It looks like one of those Air Max planes that keep crashing. The one with the funny wings. That's the other thing I thought. Anyway.
Anyway.
It doesn't go out of its way to prove it doesn't crash later in a few minutes. But, they're flying. And then Brad just pours alcohol on the wound. That'll fix it. It's good.
Vodka, bit of
vodka.
And then he gets the inspiration, doesn't he? Yeah, that's when he gets the epiphany moment.
No.
Yeah.
First thing he does is that he pours a little bit of salt on it, a little bit of vodka, and then it squeezes a little bit of lemon, and he sucks the end of the. Don't mind me.
Red Bull.
Yeah, that's it.
She sits
in
the front of the plane next to this guy. He just says nothing. He just looks at
he's like, I've seen that before.
Better than the movie that was on.
Yeah, that's right. All right, so they end up in the air, and they are heading to Wales because they've managed to get speak to the Thierry guy again on the naval ship, and they basically
Brad has an epiphany, and he says, "I need to get to an HOW or CDC," and the guy says the closest one is Wales.
Yeah.
Brad convinces the pilot to talk to his mate on the phone.
Yeah.
And I think because this UN can get them a special clearance to land, the pilot agrees, and he says, "Okay, we're very fortunate. Let's land in Wales."
Yeah.
And there's an annoying...
There's no zombies in Wales. Because no living or dead wants to go to Wales.
It's fucking Cardiff. Zombies have been caught dead there.
Wrong because there's none around.
It is an actual plot point in the original script, not so much the book, that people head north because they figure because it's so cold, zombies would freeze up in the winter.
Okay.
And so the Jerry Lane character does spend a fair bit of time in Alaska. And there's this nice moment where these couples all line up in these big combi vans to wait out the winter, and this young couple comes up in this small car with those tiny camper vans in the back.
Yeah. And
Jerry looks at him and he says to his wife, they won't make it. And sure enough, those people do die of exposure after a few weeks. And then all the people in the camp realise they're running out of food.
Yes.
So they eat them.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh,
yeah.
okay.
So that's twisty. Yeah, very different script. The original script was very different.
Yeah, it does sound different. So, and you're forgetting the bit as well in that script where McCready and Charles are the last two survivors, and they stare off at each other, and different movie, huh?
Where did you go, Charles? I just wandered off because I thought I saw something. No, you fucking idiot! You're a fucking alien. That is the most bullshit story I've ever heard. No, I thought I saw him. I just wandered off.
No, it's true story. There's something. Yeah, there's something in the woods. What woods? We're in the snow, in the middle of the Arctic. Anyway, so they're on their flight to Wales, and then that's when we get another there's zombies on a plane moment, and you can tell I'm loving this.
And this is like, seriously, it is expensive, but to pay for business class means you have an invisible sound shield that stops zombies from coming through a curtain to meet you.
My point. Look, just pile up the bags.
Stacked luggage. They stacked luggage. They stacked luggage. That's all I'm saying. All right. Just being a bit more careful about that. That would have been fine.
We're just gonna be really careful.
Trying to do anything that they could to try and do something. It's better than not doing anything at all, I guess.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, membership has its privileges. Just saying.
There's a lot of commentary about that too, isn't there? There's a lot of things to be said. Anyway, so the third class impoverished people all get kind of butchered by zombies, and then some twat knocks a suitcase off through the curtains, and then they go, "Oh wait!"
That would have been me. If I was there, that would have been me. Sorry.
And the zombies all turn, look at each other, and go, "Did you know there's a first class?"
Zombies, they got peanuts.
All right, let's get them, lads.
Oh my Caribbean.
Zombie fall, you're like, the fuck? What the what?
Oh my God.
Oh man, they got movies and everything. What the fuck?
Whoa.
What the hell?
Blankets.
Oh no, bro.
What are these face cloths things for? So anyway, so the zombies quite rightly are miffed, and they decide to take it out on the upper class, and cause a rampage through. And do gunshots get fired at this point as well?
Sorry?
Doesn't the girl start shooting at the zombies?
She shoots. Yeah. He's about to get bit. Shoots
in an enclosed cabin. In an enclosed cabin.
Yes. Well.
She's a good shot.
Yeah, she's a good shot.
She's a good shot. But then she kind of realises it's pointless, and then he realises she's got a grenade on her butt.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he pulls it, looks at her, and goes, "Well, we're fucked anyway."
Yeah, fucked anyway.
I kind of was like, "Yeah, this makes sense. You are fucked.
Yeah.
So why not, eh?"
Yeah.
Try and last ditch effort.
That's right. Yeah. And it blows a big hole in the side of the plane, and people get sucked out. There was one zombie that nearly gets to Brad to have his chompers on him. So they all their plane crashes, and they all die. That's the end of the film. What do you reckon?
But they're fine.
Yeah. So the plane gets fucking smashed to pieces, and we cut to Brad Pitt hanging upside down from the seat. The Segan character isn't next to him, and he discovers a bit of metal shrapnel has embedded itself into him.
He's such a hero. Like, that thing has basically skewered him.
Yeah.
He's fucked.
But the thing as well is he can't be that smart because he's trying to pull it out.
Yeah.
I know. That was my thing. I'm like, don't pull it out. Why do they always go pull it out?
It's the worst thing that you can do.
Worst thing you can do. Actually, I quite like that in Your Next, which we did with the podcast with the arrow bit. Where they try to pull the arrow out of his back. That's quite fun. Anyway, that's on the side. So Brad Pitt, he realises that he's in the middle of fucking nowhere, Wales. And then Segan turns up and goes, "All right, how's it going?"
She's like,
I'd give you a hand.
Brad was like, yeah, I'll just let myself down.
You look like you're having a nice sleep.
Yeah.
And they're walking through Cardiff. They happen to land close enough to the place.
I know, huh? Like it really looked like it looked like it was in buttfuck nowhere, and they suddenly.
Yeah, that's what he says. It's like this is.
Which is generally just the main part of Wales, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. It's buttfuck nowhere, buttfuck nowhere, buttfuck nowhere, Cardiff, buttfuck nowhere, buttfuck nowhere.
It's a bit like character going, we need to fly to Sydney and be at the Opera House, and they crash in the fucking Parramatta, and next thing you know, we're in the Opera House. Like,
yeah. So, they make their way there to find, and they eventually get to who? The World Hoof. World Hoof? No. Well, I can't even talk. World Hoof.
Organisation.
The World Hoof.
To the who?
The World Hoof organisation run by horses. World Health Organisation. Who? And and we meet the 12th Doctor there.
They meet
the 12th Doctor.
Man who was to be at the time was to be Doctor Who.
I know, and he's called he's the Who Doctor, isn't it?
Yeah, it was literally just announced as the movie was released, I think. So everyone's going, "Oh, that's kind of a weird coincidence."
Really credited him at the end as a Who Doctor.
That's it.
That's
it.
Weird.
Which was cool.
The only interesting thing about that place. So, and so also because then Brad sort of wakes up after they pull the thing out and he's fine, basically.
Yeah, he's fine. Of course he is.
He finds out. He calls up the dude, and the dude says, "Oh, we thought you were dead." Funny story about your wife.
Yeah. Yeah, she's dead. We drowned her.
Yeah, she was a witch.
She's a witch. Yeah. We
booted her off the ship, and the kids too.
That's right. To Nova Scotia.
The cold is out. And then Brad sort of says, "I have a plan, and we need a disease." And the people go, "We thought about fighting them with a disease." They said, "No, we don't need a disease for them. The disease for us." Ha ha ha! Twisty
moustache.
The theory being, if you fight, you become infected, but with something curable, they will somehow the zombies know that you're sick and they won't infect you.
Yeah, because he's a fucking doctor.
How will the zombies know? What's going on?
Or the army guy.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he starts, and there's because and it's also the old dude in Israel, the kid with no hair.
I'm back.
Oh, you're back?
Yeah,
I'm back.
You're back. We're all back.
We're all back.
So they come up with a plan. Was it to get diseases?
Before we get to that, can I just say how wasted was Moritz Bleibtreu in this movie?
Who?
Moritz Bleibtreu, the guy that is from the Baden-Meinhof complex, the guy that was in Run Lola Run, the guy that was in The Experiment, the psychological thriller.
Yeah.
And I'm like, he does fucking nothing in this film.
I like Ruth Nagar.
And Ruth Nagar too. I know. I'm like, anyway.
I know there was really good quality actors in that.
There was in that whole last section. I'm just like, these are actually really, really good actors you're playing with, which obviously lends its strength to we're essentially coming into the final act now. But I was just like, dude, like he could have rung that in really. Like I wonder how much he got paid just to come in and do those few lines of. Yeah, I thought it was a shame. He's a good actor. So anyway, and as you were saying, like Brad Pitt comes up with this plan that if they infect themselves with the worst kind of viruses known.
Well, it's bacterial because viruses stay with you.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
I want it to be bacterial, which is antibiotics can destroy. But yes, something bad. And then he and the girls, Lefty, and the dude.
I don't understand why she goes. She's of no use to anything. She's got like one arm, and they give her a baseball bat.
I know.
What the hell is she gonna do?
I know. I was like, you need 2 hands for a baseball bat, don't you? How do you swing the fucking thing?
What are you gonna do? Just fuck them.
All you need to do is
on the head or something.
exactly. Just check out Negan, and then you'll know how much you need 2 hands for a baseball bat.
Why didn't he just turn around and go, mate, you've got 1 hand? Any good.
No offence, but
Bodie was a doctor there.
Yeah.
Doctor. I may as well take the Who doctor.
The Who doctor. Yeah, and on that.
At least for a school person.
And is there a reason that the Italian guy, the dude that's in charge, that he goes with them too? Because
he says they don't know how to get around. Which makes sense. They won't know where to go. So he has to be the guide.
All right. Okay. Because I was just wondering that because I just thought, well, if he's the dude in charge, you'd think you'd keep him back because he's in charge.
Yeah, send Capaldi.
Yeah.
He can regenerate anyway.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, come on. So anyway, so the 3 of them go in. So we've got Lefty, Brad Pitt, and the Italian dude, and they've got to try and make their way down to the vault in the West Wing or B Wing or whatever it's called. Because that's riddled with zombies, and they've been closed that section off. But that happens to be where the vault is that has all the special stuff. Special stuff, man. And then we get this whole kind of like sequence, don't we, where basically Brad Pitt decides to be the distraction to lure the zombies away. That's because the Italian guy hits something and knocks something over, which makes him again, that would have been me. Sorry. And so Brad Pitt is the hero. He distracts them and they run in separate directions. Yeah.
And then Brad literally runs past Vault 139 or whatever it is and he realises, oh, that's the place.
Yeah, goes in and in the meantime the others have had to end up kind of escaping back into the original.
Right. Well, again, they serve their purpose, so they'll either that or they're going to die.
Yeah.
He goes into the vault, which is a vault within a vault. It's like a contained room within a room, and he can't get in there. They phone him up and say the combination to the room is this number.
Yeah.
He puts down his weapon.
Yeah.
Types it in, opens up, walks in without the crowbar, which is the weapon he's carrying.
Yeah.
Why the fuck he did that? That still makes me go, what the fuck?
Yeah, it was a bit weird. Yeah. All that training, Brad. Yeah. All that training, and you put your fucking weapon on the ground before you go in.
Yeah, exactly.
You muppet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're out.
But and also on that, before he goes into the secured kind of vault within the vault thing, it was pretty easy for him to just walk through the original vault because the door just opened, and I went, well, that's not very secure. Like.
Yeah.
Anyway, but he manages to kind of go into the actual place, and he has no idea what he's looking for. He's just cramming everything into the box, and then Zombie Doctor turns up.
Who Richard Lovegrove says is his patron or Patronus.
Yes, that's right. Who to me looked a bit like David Walliams. A bad kind of zombified David Walliams, obviously. But yeah, I was like, oh, it's David Walliams, and so he's on the outside, and so basically the point is that he's now stuck inside, and he has no option but to run the test on himself.
Choose one. So. Okay, how would you... Okay, his thing is he doesn't know which one to inject himself with, and in the movie he just takes a chance.
Yeah.
How would you guys have gotten around that?
How would I have gotten around it?
I know the phone can work. I should be able to hear the phone work from there.
Was there a phone in there?
He's writing letters to them on the card saying, tell my wife I love them.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So... I literally would have written, say, one ring for yes, one ring for no, hold up a vial, say, is this okay? And just ring once or twice. That's a no.
Yeah,
they would have said, get a bit closer,
That's how I would have done it. I mean, just like fucking inject yourself or some shit.
Yeah. I guess you're just strengthening my point, mate. It's a pointless kind of decisions that are made within this film. Yeah, good point. Yeah, but I guess that's if you were there, you probably would have made that call, and they would have gone, oh yeah. Good point.
I wouldn't have been there. Like, he's going to the beering, not me. See you guys.
yeah. I ain't going down there. Fuck that noise.
Not doing that.
Yeah. All right. So he basically injects himself, opens the door. Zombie dude kind of says, "Thought I could smell human flesh in here, but no, it seems to have gone."
I smell
filthy disease urchins around here.
I smell a lot of Ebola right now, so that's not happening.
And then we get the bit where he gets back. He cracks himself a can of soft drink. Lets them all. Was it actually Pepsi?
Yeah, total sponsorship. Yeah.
Okay. And then he lets them all kind of spill out onto the floor, kind of making a noise while he just walks past them all as they go, "Hey, Pepsi!" And then
Peter Capaldi states the obvious. They just ran right around him. Yes, we can see that, Peter. Thank you.
I need a line.
Yes.
Just say they running around him. Did you see that? They just ran around him. And then so Brad Pitt gets back, and then they give him another injection of some kind. I presume the antidote. Yeah.
Anti-herpes.
And then basically we get like the whole kind of, the narration over the top, don't we? And then he ends up flying back to Nova Scotia, and his family are there to greet him, and we get shots of again the news kind of stuff again, saying we found a way to at least put them at bay for a little while, at least while we try and camouflage ourselves against this. Yeah.
So that's where you get the Russian footage.
Yeah.
War from that originally shot.
Okay. So do you want to tell us about that?
Yeah.
So that was that. They had a whole bit with like a massive war against the zombies happening.
Yeah.
Battle versus the zombies that they shot in Russia or something. That's where you see Matthew Fox a lot more, I think. This is what my understanding of it. And there's some big giant zombie Russian dude that they're fighting or something. Do you know more? Anything more, Ant?
Basically, the whole third act, the plan was they go down in Russia. They don't make it to Wales. They get taken as slaves into an internment camp as forced labour, and it becomes like a year. He's stuck there for ages, and the war rages on. Meanwhile, Matthew Fox takes an interest in his wife and says, "Well, if you want to survive on the ship, you got to be with me." And so she ends up being with him. And so when Brad Pitt finally escapes with this girl in tow, his bodyguard effectively, Matthew Fox rescues him. And on the Zodiac, as they're flying back to Nova Scotia, Matthew Fox says, "Your wife is with me now." And it's a really fucking dark ending.
I like this movie.
Yeah.
I think that would.
Yeah. He basically goes through hell, and that's the whole point. Is that this lead come to movie number 2. Like she's now left him effectively, and his family's gone. He's had the shit kicked out of him. He's lost everything, and it's really bleak and drab because the zombies are winning. Bring on movie number 2. Tested really bad with movie audiences. And that's when they're like, "Oh, we get Drew Goddard in here to fucking rewrite the third act." And so that's kind of what happened.
Yeah, but it wasn't.
I think it's not testing films. Just tell the story.
Yeah, I agree.
Ignorant people who've got free tickets to a movie decide the fate on a multi-million-dollar franchise. Basically, it's stupid.
But
I think all three of us agree that we would have gone, "Oh yeah, that's fucking intense."
Yeah.
And it'd be different and interesting.
Well, it would have been a stronger decision, and they would have made a statement rather than producing a generic action film, basically.
Yeah.
And don't make a generic action film. Why don't you just make one generic action film and release it every year?
Yeah.
Same one, over and over again.
Yeah.
But the whole thing was... The whole thing was very similar to the Robin Hood story, the classic Robin Hood story, which the Cate Blanchett Russell Crowe Robin Hood story.
Yeah.
Originally, it was meant to be about the Sheriff of Nottingham.
That's right.
It was all about the Sheriff of Nottingham using these really interesting detective techniques for back when there was no such thing as detective techniques to track down this terrorist called Robin Hood, because this guy was terrorizing the fucking citizens of Nottingham, blah, blah, blah. And it was a really fresh take on the story of Robin Hood. And these guys sold the script. They got a lot of money for it. I sold it to the director, which was Ridley Scott. Yay! From Russell Crowe's attached. Yeah, it's going to get made. And then it was between Russell and Ridley and a couple other people. They just smashed it back into a generic Robin Hood that you've seen every other time. Yeah. And to me, that's the same thing. Hollywood just panics. They get conservative. All it takes is the star to go, I think it should be more about me. I think it should be more about me doing these heroic things. And then, yes, absolutely. Yeah. Mel, Brad, Tom, whatever you want. And then it goes like that. And then he gets...
Brad Pitt, with his company Plan B, they can take some risky decisions.
Yeah.
And with stuff that they do. So clearly he was on board to get at the get-go.
I think he was,
Yeah, he was.
So I don't know why. Yeah. Obviously, you're going into what is it? It was about $160 million budget originally, or something like that. So, I mean, you're playing with a lot of other people's money. So, I guess you can see why they folded.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's interesting too. And on the money note too, it made over $540 million, and was considered a commercial success out of it. So obviously, it did enough to kind of get the money across. And they keep talking around doing a sequel, but then the last instance of it has fallen through again because of it was budget reasons.
They had Fincher locked in, but then he backed out. It looked like they were actually they're having similar issues where Brad Pitt wanted to make one thing, and the studio went, no, we're not going to fucking pay for that. But they need to trust him, because clearly, when was the last time you saw? I mean, Plan B, his production company, has done a fair few films now, and they're actually being really successful films. So, and TV shows as well. Let me have a look and see some. But look, he was executive producer on the OA. He did Vice. He's done some Oscar-winning stuff, nominated stuff. Okja, where is it? Moonlight, Big Short, By the Sea, Selma, Fury. Some absolute cracking films. 12 Years a Slave, and he's clearly he knows what he's doing. So leave him alone and get on with it.
And actually, on that note, I have to say Brad Pitt was actually really good in this too. He's
good. I like Brad Pitt. I think I'll watch anything with. If he's in something, it's going to be good, and you're going to see something slightly different as well.
I agree, and I enjoyed his performance. I thought, as I said, just to reiterate that, I thought he was. I was a bit surprised, because I know sometimes he can be a bit. He can sometimes go a bit too. What's that movie? I'm trying to think of that movie now where it was kind of California,
with David Duchovny.
or that kind of 12 Monkeys kind of area. And I sometimes feel like when he slips into that, it kind of gets a bit, But when he just plays it straight down the barrel, I think he's really good, and that plays to his strengths. He should just kind of stick to that, and this is where he's doing that here. Okay, cool. So look, that rounds out the film. As it concludes, and as I said, whether or not a sequel does materialise, I'm not sure. But so you guys kind of watched it again previously ahead of the podcast. What are your thoughts watching it again? Do you still think it stands the test of time, and would you recommend it to those who may not have caught this film yet?
There's enough cool set pieces in it to have a good time with this film, and so there's never a dull moment. It actually keeps moving pretty well. So you're actually it feels like you're on a bit of a ride with it.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, for me, I will watch it again, and I've seen it again recently. Actually, I've seen it late last year, and it's just a fun film to rewatch. You can just have you can sit back, turn your brain off, and just kind of rewatch it and have a bit of fun with it. And, you know, because as I said, there's cool moments. But I just like it. I'd like to see a sequel. I'd like to see what
they do with it. How they go with it. Yeah.
I would love to see the sequel. I think the sequel to me should have been the original film, which was him literally talking to other people after the war and getting their stories and piecing together how the hell it happened. Because this seemed to be like we're watching. Because the thing about the book and the book especially was it made you want to go, gee, it sounds kind of like an awesome movie unto itself when the outbreak happened. But the book was all about piecing the outbreak after the fact. I just assumed if they do a sequel, that's what the sequel would be.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Like trying to piece it together and work out how it all began, and trying to isolate, because obviously they don't want history to repeat itself, even if they contain it. And they've only literally, as far as the human race is concerned, they've literally just put a band-aid on themselves. They haven't kind of conquered it. So
they haven't won yet. They've only just found a vaccine, basically. They haven't found a cure. But again, I think, and I thought too, now that we're well and truly in the age of Netflix, I thought it would be a really
that's kind of cool. I like that idea too.
I'd say, but the film for me, it is. I have a number of films I play again and again and again when I want to do housework, or I want to do some script writing, or I just want to play computer games. Close Encounters is one of them. It is another, and this is another one. World War Z. I just play. I don't know why. It has to be this balanced mix of it can't be shit, but it can't be super riveting to grab my attention. So it's just a good background film that I can enjoy watching and hearing.
Yeah.
And that's what it is to me. I think, like it's got good moments. It's got all really good moments. It's action pieces.
Yeah.
But collectively, it doesn't make you go, my God, groundbreaking, that's incredible.
And I guess that's the thing too. Like, and that's where I sit too. Yes, I did enjoy it better this time round watching it. I think that to just echo, you both said great moments, and I think I have to echo that because there are some really cool kind of set pieces in this, and it does do enough to kind of keep pushing you on to that next bit to keep you wanting to watch. Is it groundbreaking? Does it kind of grip me? No. But if it was on the box and I was just like, oh yeah, it's on, I'll stick this on, watch it. I think I was actually, because I went into this a bit like without much expectation this time round. I kind of, as I said, knew what I was about to watch. I think I was able to just enjoy it a lot more rather than critique it as per se. Cool, man. Yeah. I think we're good. We're gonna bow out on that. As I said, you guys voted for the 2013 horror movie. It was World War Z. Stick around for more of the best of horror movies for the years. Obviously, next up 2014. We'll post that out in a couple of weeks' time for the poll. Let us know which one you think should win. Until then, I'm your host for the Surgeons of Horror podcast. I'm Saul Muerte, and I was joined by Anthony Big Cheesy E.
Yeah, it was actually called World War Z in England. World War Z in England. That's another thing I want to get at. That's true. Look it up.
Those English, I don't know, man. And I was also joined by Miles Davies.
Alright, see ya.
Goodbye.
You're listening to the Surgeons of Horror podcast. Music supplied by Peter Nezik. For more discussions or podcasts, head over to surgeonsofhorror.com or head over to our Facebook and Twitter sites for the latest news and updates.